Hey guys, so with the Dead or Alive 6 collab being all over with in King of Fighters All-Stars, I thought it'd be fun to do something a little bit different today and talk about other possible collabs that would be coming out. So with King of Fighters All-Stars, you never really know what you're going to get. We've got anywhere from Tekken to Gintama to freaking WWE. So the possibilities seem pretty endless almost, because Tekken, Gintama, and WWE collabs are not widespread, let's just say that. So I thought it would be fun to talk about, possible future collabs and collabs that I would love to see happen. I do think we'll see reruns of previous collabs, kind of like they did with Gintama, where it came out and then they did it again, but with new characters. I think we'll see that eventually, but Netmarble doesn't seem to be in a huge hurry to make those things happen. They mentioned it in a Q&A that, it's not as easy as it might seem, and you have to redo contracts with the IP holders, and it's like a whole big thing. So it seems like they're prioritizing more doing new collabs. So this first one we're talking about, I think will legit happen one day. Might not be the next collab, but I think one day we will see this happen, and that's a Marvel collab. Netmarble already has 2 Marvel games, I believe, so it doesn't seem that far-fetched to think that this could happen. One of those games is Marvel Future Revolutions. You can check that out in the link in the description or maybe in the card up there, but that's a really fun game. I think this can make a lot of money for Netmarble, and it could take some of the King of Fighters All-Stars base and have them try some of their other games, and vice versa. Maybe a lot of people from Marvel Future Revolutions might try King of Fighters All-Stars. Netmarble's also done things like this in the past, where they've had, like, in 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross, they had a King of Fighters collab. They called it a 98 collab, but it was really an All-Stars collab with all the costumes in there straight from King of Fighters All-Stars. And with King of Fighters All-Stars having a 7 Deadly Sins collab. I think that kind of crossover helps Netmarble a bit. Now, the collabs in this game generally run around 6 to 8 characters, normally with a couple of them being, like, reskins. Think of like Jin in the Tekken collab, or like Elizabeth or Meliodas in the 7 Deadly Sins collab, or The Rock and John Cena in the WWE collabs, where they have a couple of the characters that are the same, but they just change the model a little bit. Maybe the moves are the same, but you essentially get another character. But these are the characters I think that from Marvel that would work pretty well in King of Fighters All-Stars, as well as, drawing a lot of attention and characters they'd want to use. First one would be Captain America. I think he would probably be... It'd be a shame if he wasn't either a red or a blue defense type. It's got a shield on there. You gotta make him a defense type, red or blue, because he's all about the red, white, and blue. Some of his moves, you could, like, give him that bubble that, like, Neo Tengu has. Make him, like, really tanky. Make him do starlight damage, because he rocks the stars and stripes. That would be sick. He can have, like, a shield slash, or he chucks his shield, or a charging star. That would be freaking awesome. You can have some of his relations be with some of the military characters or some of the Americans. I think the Captain America is a shoo-in for that. Next one, I think Iron Man. You can't have a Marvel game or Marvel collab without Iron Man in it. He's like the new age Spider-Man, where Spider-Man was in every Marvel thing. Now it's more of like Iron Man. So what I think would be cool about this in the Marvel collab in general, so let's say Netmarble is like short on time or money, which is often the case for a lot of things. They could do with multiple characters. They could have an Iron Man with the old school suit and like the modern suit, so that would be cool. You can have multiple characters with the same move set, but like you look a lot different, so that would be pretty cool. Maybe Iron Man can be like the free character that we get in this collab, maybe his old suit. That would be pretty sick. I think maybe he'd be like a balance type. I thought it would be cool if he was had like a relation with Lady Maxima, some like a linked skill. That would be kind of cool, because they're pretty similar. She seems pretty inspired by Iron Man. His super could be like the big laser beam from the chest, or I thought would be really cool is if he called in other suits and like shot the character. Like they all came in, flew in, and just shot them. That would be freaking awesome. Next one would be Black Widow. I think you gotta have some ladies in the collab. That would be cool. There's a lot of cool Marvel ladies that you could put in here, but Black Widow, she's pretty popular at the moment with the new movie that just came out. I think she would work pretty well. I think you could focus on having her do lots of stuns, things like that, being pretty mobile. I think she'd probably be an attack type, I would guess. Attack or balance, maybe. Maybe you can have her have relations with like Vanessa. She's a redheaded secret agent type of thing. That would be pretty cool. I think Thor would work pretty well. You could have him, of course, you gotta have him do some shock damage of some sort. He could call down lightning, has cool swings with Mjolnir. That would be a pretty cool character to have in there. Some like big beefy dude that could just dish out a bunch of shock damage. Captain Marvel, I think we could see in there. You know, I don't know. Me personally, not the biggest fan of Captain Marvel nowadays, but I think she'd work well in King of Fighters All-Stars as far as her moveset. She could shoot lasers, she's punching, and but it would play maybe similar to Iron Man, but I don't know. I'd prefer other characters, but I think they would probably put Captain Marvel in there. So these next couple, I think, are in the air because sometimes games have issues getting these characters in them, and that would be like Spider-Man and Wolverine. But I don't think Netmarble would have an issue with that because they're both in their games that they have. So hopefully we won't have a, you know, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinity War type of thing going on. But in my opinion, if Spider-Man wasn't in it, I'd be pretty sad. But maybe you could have him immobilizing characters. Maybe give him some move sets that take away characters like ability to roll or dodge. Just basically make him more PvP oriented. That would, you know, immobilize characters. Make him focused on that. I think that would be pretty cool. Or giving him some kind of dodge chance or whatever it is. Since he has spider abilities, his spider senses, I think that would be pretty cool. Now, Wolverine would be perfect for this game, man. You would give him bleeds, and you can give him like the Orochi ability where he just like heals over time. That would be absolutely perfect. So simple. Everybody would love to see Wolverine in this. And I think those two, like bleeds and heals, that's a given. You have to do it. But if they couldn't put in Wolverine, I don't think that's an issue for Netmarble because they have Storm and like Magneto and stuff show up even in their latest game, Future Revolution. But if they didn't, they could go like with Black Panther. That would be... I know, that's kind of like what they did in the newest Marvel vs. Capcom. People were pissed off that they basically tried to replace Wolverine with Black Panther, but they could also just add Black Panther, or if they couldn't get Wolverine, put in Black Panther, and you can make him reflect damage. That'd be pretty cool. It'd be like his suit. I think that would work pretty well for King of Fighters. So I don't think they'll put the Hulk in. I think he would work pretty well. He's just a big guy that hits hard. I don't think they'll do that because it seems to me that King of Fighters All-Stars is going to try to stay away from like really big characters. And the reason I'm saying that is like Deanne from Seven Deadly Sins. She's literally a giant in the story. But they just left her like regular size. But there's like moments in Seven Deadly Sins where she's not a giant, but she's just not using her giant hammer. But they made her use her giant hammer. They could have just made her like a little bigger. This isn't me complaining, but it just seems like they aren't willing to make a big old character. But they don't put in the Hulk. They could put in She-Hulk. That would add another girl into the collab, and she can, you know, kind of do this, have the same thing. And it'd be fun if she could break the fourth wall and like talk to the player. That would be really fun for like the story mode or whatever it is. So Netmarble, if you're watching this, feel free to use any of these ideas. I'm sure you can come up with much better ones. So before we get into the next one, I did want to mention that Netmarble did talk about briefly in a Q&A about that they get requests for collabs all the time, of course. And one of the ones that surprised Crislid there was the Steel Troops. Which is this, I think. I'm not going to pretend like I know anything about this. I recognize the cat. Like, I know of it, but I don't know anything about it. So, I don't know, maybe it would be cool. I don't know how that would fit. No idea. And I don't know if we would ever even see that. But it was interesting that he even decided to mention it in that video. Maybe he'd mentioned it because we won't see it. But it's possible. Just thought I'd bring that up. Now, the next one, I think is kind of unlikely that will actually happen, but I think makes sense in a lot of ways. And that is SNK Heroines Tag Team Frenzy. I don't know if you could even call this a collab, But maybe, I guess you could, because it's not King of Fighters exactly, but at least like an event of some sort. But I think it would be really fun, and you would use all the costumes like from that game specifically. So they're obviously going to be characters from King of Fighters, so you can reuse some of the assets that you already have, but with basically just the new costumes. So for instance, you can have like the Cat Leona, right? You could have like the Cow Mai costume. You could do like the Angel Kula costume. You could do Terry, like the girl Terry. I think Miss X would be amazing, maybe as like the free character. And, you know, if you needed more, I'd probably go with like Shermie, Athena, or maybe like Yuri. Cause a lot of the characters, hopefully having some images back here, all of the characters aren't even in King of Fighters All-Stars yet, or, you know, aren't even a King of Fighters character. So I don't think they're going to put too many of like the DLC characters in. Like, you're not going to see like Skullomania in this. I'm not saying that, but do some ones you have like the assets for already, I think would be really cool. I don't know how many like new players this would bring in from outside into King of Fighters All-Stars, which seems like it's probably part of the point of collabs anyways. But if it was just like an event, I think plenty of your player base would spend money on these costumes or these variations of the characters just because of the nature of them. But what do I know? You know, it just seems like something that would be pretty cool for the King of Fighters All-Stars community. You could even have it like where they hit the characters and like all that crap flies out. I think that'd be pretty fun. Maybe it doesn't have to be so much of it, but, you know, just like a little bit here and there. I think that would add some of the, you know, SNK Heroine's flair to it. Okay, so the next one is like the mother of all collabs that everybody seems to be asking for, which would be Street Fighter. I, of course, would also love to see a Street Fighter collab. I think they would go like specifically Street Fighter V collab. Would be my guess, but I think they would generally just use characters from Street Fighter 2. So it would be a Street Fighter V collab, but they would just use like the World Warriors Street Fighter 2 characters. So you'd have to have Ryu in it, okay? You'd have to, of course, but if you were, let's say, short on like time or money, Netmarble, and you needed to like a palette swap, you could do Ken with Ryu, or maybe Evil Ryu, to, you know, kind of have like the additional character that people go for in your collabs. That kind of seems like something that you like to do. You could, of course, you have to have ChunLi, basically just as much as you need to have Ryu, if not more. ChunLi is such a good design, and she's such an iconic character. There's a reason that there is more costumes for ChunLi in Street Fighter V than any other character, is because it's profitable and she's a classic. So you'd have to have her in there. Maybe you can have her be like a balance type. It would be fun maybe if you had like some of her moves reset, have a chance to reset her other moves. Maybe her kicks, that would be really fun. You could do like kicks into her projectile, into more kicks. That would be freaking awesome. How many times can I say freaking awesome in this video? I don't know. Another must-have, I think, would be Guile. Definitely got to make him a defense type. Maybe you can have him have like the armor system where like what Fest Terry has, where he blocks for so long, then he gets super armor. Or maybe you can make it to where after he backs up for a certain period of time, he gets it. But I think blocking makes sense and works into King of Fighters All-Stars more, because of you can run anywhere in that game. There's not necessarily backing up. But I think if you gave Guile like the Terry thing where you hold on for so long, maybe you can give him hyper armor. That would be pretty cool. Kind of fit into that more Guile turtling. I think they would have M. Bison in there. That's a pretty go-to the bad guy that they would put in there. I don't know what they would have him do. I know what moves you would have all these characters do. Obviously, they only have so many, but I'm not sure. Maybe a like armor breaker, that would be pretty good. Like super hyper armor breaker would be pretty good on him. On like his crusher move, that would be pretty good. So Akuma, I think he'd be an attack type. Obviously, he's very offensive but squishy. I thought it would be really cool if you literally made him hit really hard but have low health, just like he's supposed to be. Maybe you can have it be his leader skill, maybe not necessarily in his core. Maybe you can have his leader skill be like, I don't know, plus 70% damage to Street Fighter characters, but it's like minus 40% health or something nuts, right? Just make it really high risk, high reward. That might be broken, I don't know, but maybe make it his leader skill, or maybe just put it in Akuma himself. Just make him really squishy with like no defensive super armor, anything, but just make his combo abilities like insane or something. That could be fun. Maybe he can do darkness damage. I think Cammy has a pretty good chance of making it in there, just as another good female character that's pretty iconic. She's from Street Fighter 2. I think a lot of fans would really enjoy having her in. Make her an attack type, make her really fast. She's got some really good moves that would work into King of Fighters All-Stars. I don't think you'll probably see Ken if they were to do this collab, unless they were on like a time crunch or a money crunch. So to me, I thought the Dead or Alive collab was awesome. I loved it, okay? But it seemed to me like they had either some kind of time crunch or money issue to where they didn't have a bunch of money to throw at it. That's why we got 4 characters, but just reused into swimsuit versions. That saves them, it seems to me, a lot of money into redoing animations and remaking models. They can just kind of alter things, alter what the moves do, you know, put a swimsuit on them, and that saves a lot of time and money. But, you know, we still get a lot of characters, and everybody seemed, you know, okay with it. Maybe it wasn't perfect, preferable, but, you know, making it swimsuit characters probably took out some of the sting for some people at least. So I think if we do get Ken, it would be for a reason like that could reuse most of his like animations and most of his model even, and just kind of change the head, unless they're gonna go with the Street Fighter V version of Ken. But you can change things like you know, give him fire damage, of course. Maybe you can make it have a chance to, when he does the Shoryuken, that it has a chance to take away the cooldown for the Shoryuken, so you can do it twice, kind of like a throwback to Third Strike, how you could do that in Third Strike. Kazuya has an attack a lot like that. So these were just a couple of the ideas that I've had for King of Fighters All-Stars collabs. There's obviously so many that you could do, and the possibilities seem endless with Netmarble, because they did collabs I never thought. WWE, come on. Who actually thought that they would predict that they would do a WWE collab? Nobody. You can see The Rock punch Kyo in the face. That's amazing. I just thought it'd be fun to do a different type of video. I've been wanting to do something like this, but I want to hear your guys' thoughts, and I always comment on everybody's comments as much as I can, but it'd be cool to hear what you guys think. What Street Fighter characters would you like to have in? Me, it will never happen, but I would love to see Dudley in there. He's my favorite video game character of all time. If they put Dudley in there, I would throw so much money at them. They have no idea. What do you think of SNK Heroines being like an event maybe, or a collab? What characters from there would you like to see in there? There's multiple costumes in that game. For like, you know, even for like Leona and Mai, they have more than just like their ones that I showed you earlier, like the cow costume or whatever. They have others. There's a lot of potential there, I think, and it doesn't seem like it would be too difficult for Netmarble to pull off. But I'm calling it. I think a Marvel collab will happen eventually. I don't know when, but I think it will happen one day. It just seems convenient for them. Like, seems like it's kind of collabs are who you know. Like, shoot, a Snake being into Smash Brothers. It's just literally because the dudes knew each other and he wanted the character in there, from my recollection. So getting collabs partly seems to be a who you know type of situation, but so since Netmarble already has the olive branch to Marvel, it seems totally plausible that would happen. So who do you guys think would work well from Marvel into King of Fighters All-Stars? Who would you like to see? I know there's a ton of characters I'd love to see in there. Marvel has such a huge backlog of characters that would be freaking awesome. But that's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please subscribe. I do lots of King of Fighters All-Stars videos. I do lots of fighting games, shoot VR games, cover collabs all the time. So if any of that is of interest to you, I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe. I'm trying to get to 10,000. All the money I make in YouTube goes straight into my son's bank account. It just makes it more fun for me. But thank you guys for watching. God bless you, and you have a blessed day, y'all.